Welcome. In the previous lectures, we saw the aspects related to the selection of technology, selection of project site, and some other aspects that are related to project implementation. Today, we shall address the issue of project cost estimation. An acceptable plant design must be a plant that can produce product that should sell and make a profit for the owner of the plant. The owner initially has to have sufficient capital for the construction of all aspects of the plant. The project cost includes the cost incurred while transforming the conceptual design into reality, the construction and subsequent commissioning of the plant. The project cost includes the cost of tangibles in the form of land, building, plant equipment, instruments, electricals, piping, etc. Then it also includes the cost of intangibles associated with services required to erect the plant and make it functional, such as architect fees, know-how fees, expenses for obtaining various clearances, and then other various types of costs that are associated with each step. Thereafter comes the cost of production. The net profit that the plant generates is equal to the total income minus all expenses. Therefore, we also need to have a detailed idea of the manufacturing cost, and then we need to have funds available for direct plant expenses, such as those for raw material, labor, utilities, and indirect expenses such as administrative salaries, product sales, and distribution cost. That is what is known as the working capital. In addition, we also have to consider the interest on the term loan during construction period. If the money is borrowed, capital is borrowed from bank, then cost associated with management of public issue if the money is borrowed in the form of shares. So all of these costs become the project cost, also known as the project capital outlay or capital investment in short. Now let us try to construct a sort of a cash tree for the industrial operation, or the diagram showing the cash flow, from where the money comes and where the money goes and how does the entire industry function. We shall consider a corporate treasury as a reservoir and source of capital. The input to such reservoir are in the form of loans, stock issues, bond sales, and also part of net cash flow which is reinvested in business. So let us try to simultaneously draw this tree. So we have a capital source and also sink. Then the trunk of the tree represents the total capital investment for the business. Now let us not include the land cost at this moment so as to have simplicity. Then total capital investment has three components. First, the fixed capital investment, the plant and equipment, then investment in auxiliaries, then non-manufacturing facilities, and working capital. So let us draw that trunk. The root, the reservoir, corporate reservoir, inputs to this are in the form of loan, bonds, stocks, preferred stocks, so on and so forth. Then the stem of the tree has three stems. First stem, that is the manufacturing fixed capital. These are the three components of total capital investment that I have denoted with acronym TCI. Then second stem is of non-manufacturing fixed capital. And the third stem is that of working capital. Now, this is required till the plant becomes functional. So let us draw a box here that indicates the functional plant. Functional plant produces revenue from sales that we denote by letter Sj, and then it incurs the cost of manufacturing or production cost that we denote by C naught J. Now the manufacturing cost also includes the item of depreciation or the subcomponent of depreciation that we are going to deal in greater detail later in this module. Okay, but let us say that manufacturing cost C naught J is not including the depreciation. Okay, then part of the funds that are obtained, part of the revenue is retained for as depreciation fund. Okay, so the gross profit, the next term of the tree, is this revenue minus the operating cost or the manufacturing cost. Okay, and then part of this gross profit is retained as depreciation. That depreciation we denote by letter Dj. So Dj is the depreciation charge. Okay. And then out of the net profit, part goes as in the form of income tax. The net profit is Sj minus C naught J minus Dj. Let us say phi is the percentage of our tax limit or tax percentage. So out of this profit, okay, the tax goes as phi into Sj minus C naught J minus Dj, and the net profit that is retained by the company is 1 minus phi into Sj minus C naught J minus Dj. Now this net profit together with the depreciation fund returns back to the capital source. Now this much is the net cash accrual of the company. The company may consider investing it in further in the business. So this is essentially the cash flow tree that we have, which indicates the source and sink of the money for operation of any typical industrial plant. Let us see another similar diagram, that is the cumulative cash position. The cash flow history with time of a plant is what is known as the cumulative cash position. Now we shall draw another diagram in which money and time will be the two axes, and then we shall see how does the funds vary over time and magnitude. Okay. Cumulative cash position diagram for a company. Here we have two axes. First axis, the y axis is that of money and the x axis is that of time. As soon as we decide to erect a plant, we have to, the first activity would be to select a project site and thereafter start building the plant. If the land is not owned by company, we have to first buy the land. So time 0 is, let us say, is the time when operation is complete or the plant operation starts. So negative of x axis, that is time axis, would indicate the construction of plant. Let us say it takes 3 years to construct a plant. So at the time -3, we have to buy the land. Now this is money. So this much cost is that of the land cost, and at time -3 years we buy the land. And then as construction starts, we have to invest the fixed capital. So that goes on till, let us say, this point, last 6 months. and then this is the fixed capital investment. Thereafter, we have to have working capital to buy the raw material and start the functioning of the plant. So, let us say we invest the working capital right at time 0, so that makes it easier. So, here the fixed capital investment ends, then this is the working capital at time. So, this is the total investment at time. Okay. At time 0, the plant functioning starts and plant starts making money. Now, in the initial period, not all of the plant capacity may be utilized, but let us make an assumption that the full plant capacity is utilized right from time 0, and we consider, let us say, 10 years of operation. Okay. Now, as you have seen in the previous cash flow tree, there are two types of cash accruals. First is the gross profit and second is the depreciation. Okay. Let us assume that the depreciation is uniform in time. Okay. So, we get a straight line till time 10 years. So, that is a depreciation. And then there is annual profit, okay, and the total cash, let us say, starts at time 0 and then increases with time. This is a cumulative cash. Cumulative cash includes the net profit after taxes plus depreciation. And then minus total capital investment, because we want to recover the invested money. Okay. So, the cumulative cash position grows, and then at certain time that cumulative cash becomes equal to the 0, which means the entire money has been recovered. And then comes the further profit, that is up to year 10, and then at 10 years, let us say we sell off plant equipment and try to get the salvage value for the equipment, then working capital is already recovered, plus let us say we also sell the land. So, this is the project life, 10 years, and finally we are left with this much money. So, if the amount of money that we are left with at the end of 10 years is higher than that is invested at time 0, that could be a sort of a measure of profitability of the business. Of course, cumulative cash I have shown in linear form. It cannot be linear, because as soon as you make a profit, let us say you deposit in bank, then at each year the interest accumulates and the cumulative cash grows non-linearly. It grows more or less in the form of exponential. Okay. Therefore, that aspect we are not taking into consideration at the moment, because we are seeing simpler model for project economics or profitability. Like this much is the salvage recovery. Depreciation. Okay. That means you sell off the equipment at year 10, and the total cost of equipment at this point is this much. So, this much we add here at the top, and that is it. So, this is a typical cumulative cash flow diagram. Now, how do you relate relative profitability of the process? The earlier this crosses, this line, cumulative cash line crosses y equal to 0 line, then means, for example, if you have a process which is like this, then it is more profitable than the other initial process, more profitable, because here the cash accruals are high, therefore the money grows very rapidly in time. Let us see some factors that affect the investment and the production cost. When a chemical engineer determines the cost for any type of industrial process, these costs should be of sufficient accuracy to provide a reasonable decision or reliable decision. To accomplish this, the engineer must have a complete understanding of many factors that affect the cost. Okay? Like for example, in some companies have a reciprocal arrangement with other companies whereby certain raw materials or type of equipment may be purchased at prices lower than the prevailing market prices. Therefore, if chemical engineer bases the economic analysis of the plant on the basis of raw material in open market, he is likely to get a wrong estimate of profitability. Okay? So such things we need to account for. Now what I have done here is that I have listed some major factors that affect the investment and production cost. The first is the source of equipment. As I just said, one major cost is that of the cost component of the source of equipment. As far as possible, use the idle equipment or the equipment in good condition second hand, okay, like bought from other companies for your plant. That will reduce the fixed capital investment of your company and will increase the profitability. Then second thing is the price fluctuation. One needs to have a reasonable prediction of price fluctuation or the reasonable idea of price fluctuation. The price of labor, raw material and equipment fluctuates in time. Usually it increases, but sometimes it may go down also. A design engineer needs to have an up-to-date information on prices of the equipment and all the aspects like raw material, equipment and the labor, and in this case the purity of raw material also comes into picture. The purer raw material is expensive, but it reduces the cost of pre-treatment. Okay? Therefore, one has to have a reasonable idea of the price fluctuation. The next is the policies of company. Company may have different policy, like I just said that company may have agreement with some other company to get equipment or raw material at reduced price. Okay? Another policies are the strict safety regulation, accounting procedure and methods for corporate cost allocation, labor union policies such as labor charges and type of work labor that can perform. So these policies have a direct influence over the project cost. Then next is the operating time of the project and rate of production. The fraction of the time the process is in operation has a direct influence on production and the revenue that is generated. If the equipment remains idle, the raw material labor cost reduce. However, the fixed costs such as the cost of maintenance, the depreciation, they are still incurred. These are known as fixed charges. They are still incurred, and therefore one has to have as much utilization of or optimum utilization of the equipment as possible. Then the sales demand. The rate of production and operating time are related. Ideal plant should have time schedule that gives maximum production rate consistent with market demand and economic operating condition. At optimum condition, the total cost per unit production is minimized because of variable cost averaged over time are low. Now sales demand, rate of production and operating time are very closely interrelated. The ideal plant should operate under time schedule that gives maximum production rate consistent with market demand, safety, maintainability, economic operating condition. Let us see in the form of a diagram the effect of cost and profit based on the rate of production and the exact variation of the various costs. Okay. Like we shall see another diagram, what is known as the break-even chart. For a plant. What should be the operating capacity? Here the y-axis I am plotting the revenue, or let us say just the cost, not revenue, cost whether either rupees or dollars, and on the x-axis the rate of production. Now as I said, costs such as maintenance, depreciation, these are independent of the rate of production. Therefore, these are fixed charges. So these remain constant irrespective of whether the equipment is functioning or not. The total production cost increases as the rate of production increases. However, it is not linear. Okay? The total production cost may go up exponentially after a certain time. Okay? And then is the total income. So let us number the line horizontal line is fixed charges, the curved line is total production cost, and again the inclined straight line is the revenue or total income. Total income of company after all products being sold. Now obviously the profit is equal to the revenue minus the total production cost. Therefore, the region between the production curve and the revenue line, the one which I am hatching now, is the profit region. And you can see that at a particular production rate, the profit is maximum. So this is the optimum production capacity at which the gross profit is at its maximum. And then the break-even point. This point is break-even point. Here the revenue just balances the total production cost, and this region is that of loss, the region between or the region below the fixed charges. Here the net revenue is negative and that is loss. So this is the break-even chart for the processing plant. Beyond break-even point, the region between revenue and total production cost shows gross earning, as I just said. Now there are certain government policies, okay, central as well as state government law and regulations have a direct effect on production cost. These are income taxes, import and export tariff regulation, depreciation rate, and environmental and safety regulation. One needs to have a very thorough and careful understanding of all the government policies so as to estimate the profit at a particular maximum profit obtainable at a particular point. The most influential is the income tax and depreciation rate. Now let us see the issue of fixed capital investment. Okay. For building and operation of an industrial plant, investment is needed for purchase and installation of machinery and equipment. The traditional economic definition of capital is stock of accumulated wealth. In an applied sense, the capital is saving that may be used as the owner decides. One use of the saving is investment, that is to use the saving to promote production of other goods instead of being available solely for purposes of immediate enjoyment, okay, or with view of obtaining further income or profit. The capital needed to supply the required manufacturing and plant facilities is called as fixed capital investment, while the capital that is required for the operation of the plant is the working capital. Sum of these two things, the sum of the fixed capital investment and working capital, is the total capital investment. There are subcategories of fixed capital investment. It could be divided as the manufacturing fixed capital investment, also known as the direct cost, or non-manufacturing fixed capital investment, known as indirect cost. Now let us see what in detail what we mean by fixed capital investment, or what are the components of it. Manufacturing fixed capital investment is the capital necessary for installed process equipment with all components that are necessary for operation. This includes expenses for site preparation, piping, instruments, insulation, foundation and auxiliaries. Okay. That is fixed capital investment. Now non-manufacturing FCI, fixed capital investment, is the capital required for construction overheads and all other plant components that are not directly related to process operation, like processing building or administrative and other offices, warehouses, laboratories, transportation, shipping and receiving facilities, utilities and waste disposal facilities, so on and so forth. The construction overheads are the field and office supervision expenses, the home office expenses, engineering expenses, miscellaneous construction cost, contractor fees and contingency. The major components of working capital are, first of all, the raw material and supplies carried in stock, typically 1 month stock, but if the plant is located far away from the main city or the main source of raw material, then you have to go for even additional stocks like 3 months or sometimes even 6 months of stock, in case you are not assured of regular supply, unlimited supply of the raw material. Then the finished products in stock. Whatever you produce may not sell immediately, therefore you have to keep the products in stock. Typically this is for more important for products with seasonal demand, like for example fertilizer. Urea may be produced all over year, but it sells only during the crop seasons, Kharif and Rabi seasons. Therefore, after manufacturing, you have to store the finished product for a considerable period. Typically 1 month of production or 1 month of manufacturing cost is taken as the finished products in stock, that is a thumb rule. Then semi-finished products in process being manufactured, then accounts receivable. The people who buy your product may not be able to pay the money immediately, so you have to keep the accounts open for them, like you have to keep some margin for these receivable accounts. Then cash in hand for monthly payment of operating expenses such as salaries and wages of your personnel or raw material purchase. Then accounts that are payable, then taxes they are payable. The ratio of working capital to total capital investment varies with different companies. So typically it is, most of the companies use working capital equal to 10 to 20% of total capital investment. This percentage could be more for companies producing products of seasonal demand, as I just said, due to large inventories that we need to maintain for longer period. Then let us see what are the components of fixed capital investment. Fixed capital investment has two components, direct cost and indirect cost. The major subcomponents of indirect cost are purchase equipment. This amounts to typically 15 to 40% of fixed capital investment. The items that come under purchase equipment is all equipment that are listed on the flow sheet. We have already seen how to break up flow sheet. We have to go for economic analysis in steps. We cannot go for the entire economic analysis at the initial stage. Okay, so we have to design the flow sheet and then go for simultaneous economic analysis. So initially you retain only the major equipment on the flow sheet and then find out the total cost of equipment, then add further details if the economic potential is sufficiently promising. So all equipment listed on the flow sheet, then spare parts and non-installed equipment spares, surplus equipment supplies, equipment allowance, then inflation cost allowance, freight charges, taxes, insurance and duties, allowance for modification during startup. These are all the, let us say, subcomponents of the purchase equipment component. Then purchase equipment installation. This is typically 6 to 14% of fixed capital investment. This includes installation of all equipment on the flow sheet, then structural support, then equipment insulation and painting. Then the third is instrumentation and control. This is typically 2 to 12% of fixed capital investment. This includes purchase, installation, calibration and computer control with supportive software. Then comes the cost of piping. This is typically 4 to 17% of fixed capital investment. Piping includes all the process piping utilizing suitable structural material, then pipe hangers or fittings or walls or insulation, like the accessories for pipe. Those are all included under category of piping. Then the electrical systems, these are 2 to 10% of fixed capital investment. They include electrical equipment, switches, motors, conduit, wire fitting, feeder, grounding, lighting and panels, then electrical material and labor. Then the next component is that of buildings and services. This is typically 2 to 18% of fixed capital investment. This includes process building, the substructure, superstructures, platforms, supports, stairways, ladders, cranes, monorail, elevator. Then the auxiliary building, it should have an administrative office, then medical facilities, cafeteria, garage, then product warehouse, parts warehouse, guard and safety fire station, personnel building, shipping office and platform, then research and quality control laboratory. Then you also need to have maintenance shops, the electrical maintenance, piping or plumbing, then sheet metal, machining, welding, carpentry, instrumentation, maintenance shops for all of these things. Then the building services, plumbing, heating, ventilation, dust collection, air conditioning, building lighting, elevators, escalators, telephones, intercommunication system, sprinkler and fire alarm. Then the cost of yard improvement. The land that you get for plant may not be a completely flat land. It can have certain small hills or small culvert or some lake kind of things. So you have to make them even by making proper demolishing or filling of land. So site development is an important issue. Site clearing, grading, building of roads, walkways, railroads, fences, parking areas, recreational facilities, quarters for your personnel, then landscaping, the making beautification. Then comes the service facilities. These count to about 8 to 30% of fixed capital investment. The utilities such as steam, power, refrigeration, compressed air, fuel, waste disposal, so on and so forth. Then facilities, additional facilities such as boiler plant, incinerator, wells, river intake, water treatment, cooling waters, water storage, electric substation, refrigeration plant, fuel storage plant, fuel storage tanks, then waste disposal plant, and then fire protection equipment. Then non-process equipment such as office furniture and equipment, cafeteria, safety and medical equipment, shop and automotive equipment, yard material handling and laboratory equipment, locker rooms, garage equipment, shelves and bins, then fire extinguishers, fire engines, loading and unloading stations. Then comes the cost of distribution and packaging, basically raw material and product storage handling equipment, then product packaging equipment, and then blending facilities if the products are in liquid form. And then finally the land. Land we have taken as 1 to 2% of fixed capital investment, but with the rising cost of land and several issues, political issues associated with it, okay, the cost of land could be even higher than this. It could be 10% or even 20% of fixed capital investment. Then you have to conduct survey in the land to assess the natural reservoirs, like whether it has sufficient water, whether it is connected to highway, whether it is connected to a railway station or it is near a port, okay, so on and so forth. Then the cost of properties. Then let us see what are the indirect costs. These what we saw were the direct cost of fixed capital investment. Let us see now the indirect cost. Indirect cost includes the cost of engineering and supervision, that is administrative process, design and general engineering, computer graphics, cost engineering, procuring, reproduction, communication, scale models, consultant fees and travel. These together amount to about 4 to 20% of fixed capital investment. Then the legal expenses, identification of applicable federal, state and local regulation, then preparation and submission of forms required by regulatory agencies, then acquisition of regulatory equipment, acquisition of regulatory approval, then contract negotiation. So you have to hire a legal consultant or maybe a legal personnel, an advocate for your company who will handle all these issues. Then the construction expenses, these are typically 4 to 17% of fixed capital investment. This includes construction, operation, maintenance and temporary facilities, offices and roads, parking lanes, railroads, electrical piping, fencing, then construction of tools and equipment, then construction supervision, accounting, purchasing and expediting, warehouse expenses and guards, safety, medical and fringe benefit, permits, field test and special licenses, taxes and insurance and interest. Then finally are the two components, the contractor's fee, that is typically 2 to 6% of fixed capital investment, and then contingency, which is 5 to 15% of fixed capital investment. Contingency grant is for unforeseen expenses such as suddenly prices rise, or if there is any flood or any natural calamity, then the funds required for the damage caused or compensate for the prices rise. Sometimes let us say roads get blocked due to rain, then the cost of additional transportation facilities, so on and so forth. So contingency is the funds required for unforeseen expenses. Let us say suddenly some equipment breaks down and the cost of repair is significantly high, then it is paid through contingency grant. So that was the typical structure of the fixed capital investment and working capital. Let us see the typical cost estimates. Capital cost estimates. The estimate for capital investment for a process may vary from a pre-decision estimate based on little information except the magnitude of the proposed project to a detailed estimate prepared from complete drawing and specification. Between these two extreme of the total economic analysis, we have to develop the capital investment estimate through various steps, and there could be numerous other estimates that vary in accuracy depending upon the stage of development of the project. Okay. These estimates are called by a variety of names, but we have categorized these basically estimates in the 5 categories that represent accuracy range and designations normally used for the design purposes. First estimate is the order of magnitude estimate, or what is known as ratio estimate. This is based on previous cost data, and the accuracy of such estimate is typically 30 to 50%. Then there is study estimate, or what is known as factored estimate, based on knowledge of major equipment items of the flow sheet. This is with accuracy plus minus 30%. Then the preliminary estimate, or what is also known as budget authorization estimate. This is based on sufficient data and analysis so as to prepare a budget with accuracy of plus minus 20%. Then the definitive estimate, or what is also known as project control estimate. This is based on complete data of mass and energy balance and equipment specification, but before the actual drawings and site survey is done. This is with accuracy of plus minus 10%. Then the detailed estimate, or what is also known as contractor estimate, based on the complete engineering drawing, specification and the site survey, what are known as the cost indices. Before we go that, let us see why we have to see all these estimates. In the first place, we have to pay significant amount of money or fees to the consultant to get these estimates. So before we go for a detailed estimate, we have to make sure whether the project is sufficiently profitable or sufficiently promising for investing that much of money to get the total project estimate. Pre-design cost estimate defined, what we also define as order of magnitude estimates or preliminary estimates, require much less detail than the firm estimate such as definitive or detailed estimate. However, pre-design estimates are extremely important for determining whether a proposed project should be given further consideration or comparing the process alternatives or process alternate designs. Okay. And therefore, for this reason, much of the information presented is what we shall see now. Okay. What we shall see in this course or in this module, okay, is for the pre-design estimate. Although we need to understand that the distinction between pre-design and firm estimate gradually disappears as more and more details are included. Okay. Pre-design estimate may be used to provide basis for requesting and obtaining capital appropriation from company management. That is sometimes called a budget authorization estimate. So you put before the management of your company the entire project proposal with the pre-design estimate that will help the management determine the worthiness of your project, whether it is worth investing money. Okay. Now let us see how we can get these estimates. One important method is that of cost index. Most of the cost data that are available for making preliminary or pre-design estimate are only valid at the time when they were developed. Okay. Let us say in module 3, when we try to estimate the reactor design, I had given you a homework of updating the cost. The cost correlations that we used were developed in 2002. We are now in 2012. So you have to update the cost, and that can be done using cost index. Okay. The prices fluctuate, they usually increase considerably with time due to economic changes, and we have to adopt some method for relating the present cost to the cost data in future or cost data representative of conditions at a later date. Cost indices are useful tool. Cost index is an index value for a given time showing the cost at that time relative to a certain base time. The present and original cost are then related to through the cost index as present cost is equal to original cost into present index value divided by the index value at the time when cost was obtained. So, this is basically a relation of obtaining the present cost from the previous costs. Cost indexes give a general estimate, but they do not take into account all factors such as technological advancement or changes in local conditions. Indices are usually used for extrapolating cost data in near future, let us say over a period of 4 to 5 years, and provide fairly accurate estimate for periods less than a decade. Many different cost indices are available in the literature. The most common and popular indices are Marshall and Swift index, Nielsen-Farrar refinery construction index, and then process industry equipment index. Specialized indexes are available such as material and labor cost index. Okay. All cost indexes are based on limited sampling of data and two indexes covering same type of project that give different considerable different results. This we should keep in mind, okay, that the indices are based on very limited data. So, the cost that we obtain through Marshall and Swift index could be significantly different than the Nielsen-Farrar index. Okay. Most of the times indexes only predict the trend in the cost rather than actual quantification. Then let us see how we determine the cost of purchased equipment. The total cost of purchased equipment forms basis for estimation of total capital investment in most of the pre-design methods. The plant equipment is usually categorized as processing equipment, then raw material handling and storage equipment, finished products handling and storage equipment. Then the cost of equipment basically depends on its size. So, sizes and specifications of equipment are needed for a chemical process, and these are determined from the equipment characteristic parameters, fixed or calculated with material energy balance calculation. For example, if we consider a distillation column, the engineer must specify the number of equilibrium stages or plates, the reflux ratio, the total and partial condensation of overhead streams, and operating pressure, so as to determine a typical cost. When these specification and feed composition and quality taken into consideration, we can design an algorithm that can calculate the product and distillate composition, the flow rates, the reboiler and condenser duties. The plate efficiency gives the number of actual plates from theoretical number of plates, which we can determine through FUG method, as we are going to see later on in this module, or the module of the shortcut design methods. And from the property of feed component and also operating condition, one can choose the appropriate material of construction. This is applicable for all equipment, that you have to see the properties of the fluid or material that equipment is handling before choosing the material of construction. And the best and most accurate method of getting price of an equipment quickly is through vendor's quotes, but getting vendor quote is not a easy task. Like, to even prepare quote, vendor has to spend sufficient time. So, unless and until he gets a firm order, he may not be able to give a quotation. But for quick estimate of capital investment, we can use cost correlations, which are used based on the cost data from various previous purchases. Purchased order prices must be corrected with appropriate cost index ratio and the capacity exponent. If we are trying to get cost of a higher capacity equipment from a low capacity equipment, we have to use a capacity exponent to extrapolate the cost. So, this is cost estimation by scaling. Cost predictions can be made by using power relation as the 6/10 factor rule. Cost of equipment A is equal to cost of equipment B with a higher capacity or lower cost of equipment B into x raised to 0.6. The cost of a given unit B of one capacity is known. The cost of similar unit with x times the capacity, x could be less than or greater than 1, is x raised to 0.6. This means that on a log-log plot, the capacity versus cost relation should be a straight line with slope equal to 0.6. These are some of the basic issues. We shall see a more detailed algorithm for estimation of project cost with this thing in the with all this information and data in the subsequent lecture.